Welcome to Stampin' Peace with Mary Nave. It is Monday, March 20th, and I hope you had a fantastic weekend like I did. I was with 5 of my girlfriends, and we did a craft weekend at a retreat house, and lots of fun. I got lots of pages done for Andrea and John's wedding album. I do pretty easy, quick and easy scrapbook pages, but it feels so good to get so many pages done. I'm excited about that. Now I have to find an album to put them in and finish up, including some photos from their reception. And some of the women that were there had not watched Downton Abbey. So we put that on the TV and watched a few seasons of that as we were all crafting. We had some people making cards. Somebody was doing diamond dots. Another person was getting ready for her daughter's baby shower. Some of us were scrapbooking, card making, all kinds of things. So really lots of fun, and was such a nice 4-day getaway, and really enjoyed focusing on a project for me and my family. So very nice. Happy first day of spring. Yay. I am so glad. Even though it is cold here in central Ohio, it is bright and sunny. It's a beautiful day. I'm going to get out and get a walk in after this. So if you've been looking forward to spring like me, the day is here. Spring has sprung. So it's a fun time, season of hope, time to see lots of signs of new life and new growth outside. I hope you have a great spring, and I hope you will enjoy today's card making demonstration. I don't really have any announcements for you except one. And some of you may have heard this already, but Stampin' Up! Is doing a color refresh this year. If you don't know what that means, Stampin' Up! Will be retiring some of our current colors and bringing in some new colors, and perhaps even bringing in some past in colors. So you'll get more information about that in April, and then the new catalog starts in May. But I just wanted to give you a heads up that demonstrators don't know yet what colors will be retiring, what's coming back, that sort of thing. So I'm going to encourage you to purchase any stock you need in your favorite colors now. That would include the ink pad re-inker, cardstock, ribbons and embellishments, Stampin' blends, anything of your favorite colors. I would encourage you to purchase now, because if they are on, if they are on the last chance list come the end of March, some of those things may sell out quickly during the month of April. So just want to give you a heads up for that. Shop early to avoid disappointment. Historically, retiring colors, they did not discount, all right? If I thought they were going to discount any products and retiring colors, ink pads, cardstock, whatever, I would let you know that. We have not been told that, and demonstrators will not know the answer to that until the end of March. But look for that information coming in just a couple weeks. Gosh, it's March 20th. The end of March is almost here. Okay. All right. I'm going to flip my camera around now. And while I do that, would you please share this live video and invite others to join us for today's card making demonstration. Okay, I needed to reach over and grab my drink. I don't know why all of a sudden, as soon as I get them go live, my throat is all dry, so I apologize. All right, today I'm featuring the Something Fancy bundle, as well as one particular die from the two-tone Flora bundle. And these products can be found on pages 14 through 17. There's some great coordinating designer series paper and trim with that, so you can check it out there. For the first part of my demonstration, I'm going to be using What Happened to It. Oh, there it is. Got put with the wrong set. I'm going to be using this one die to make two cards. And when I do this, I only need to cut the die one time to make the two cards. And this is one of my favorite stamping techniques that you're going to see today. For this part of the demonstration, I am using my large standard Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And I've cut a piece of basic white cardstock, basically 5.5 by 4 inches. So it basically completely covers, the die completely covers that piece. Now, because I have 4 straight edges, I want to turn this die at an angle. If you do that, you'll get much better cutting impressions, because when the die goes in straight across, parallel to the rollers inside the machine, it can jump a little bit and not cut as effectively. So again, just match up that piece of white cardstock, 5.5 by 4.25. Place the die directly on top of it and place both at an angle on your cutting platform. Now, because there are so many intricate dies or intricate cuts on this one die, I'm going to go back and forth a few times. Whenever you have a die with lots and lots of detail like this one, I suggest you go back and forth at least twice. I'm doing 3 times here. And then what I like to do is just flip this over, and I can see that really most of the areas have cut out pretty well. Right here, I'm not sure how well all that has cut out. So what I'm going to do is leave that there, put that bottom plate back on, and I've shifted that just a little bit, and I'm going to go over that top portion again. Whoops, didn't have my plates lined up well. Okay. All right, let's take a look now. I have a feeling it's going to be much better this time. Oh yes, you can see now that it's all those small intricate parts have been cut very well. And of course, this is going to make lots of confetti for you. You can use your die brush, and that will help eliminate a lot of those negative parts. I think we got most of them. Yes. So you see the difference if you go back and forth in the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine with this very detailed die. It's going to give you nicer cuts, and the negative pieces will fall out more easily. Okay, so do take the time to do those extra steps. Also take the time to flip it over and check and make sure that all of the parts have cut well. And if they haven't, just stick it back through your die cutting machine and all is well. All right, for this, I'm gonna flip my scrap paper over. You know what? Let's start with a new piece of scrap paper so you can see. I tend to use the same one over and over and over until I just can't anymore. Now, I'm going to pull in another piece of white cardstock the same size, okay? 5.5 by 4 inches. And I'm going to lay these on top with the edges matched up perfectly. I'm not adhering them at all, but what I'm going to do is hold them on my Stamparatus with the magnets. The only reason I've pulled out my Stamparatus today is to help hold these two pieces together in place. And as I work, I might be moving some of these magnets around a little bit. But these are the colors I'm using. So Saffron, Fresh Freesia, Polished Pink, and Granny Apple Green. I figured today was a great day for coloring some spring flowers. So what I'm going to do here, I want to take a look at my sample here. Okay, so I'm going to start with the lightest shade first, which is my So Saffron. And I'm using my small blending brushes. And I'm just going to color or blend the ink onto some of these flowers. You don't have to worry about staying in the lines or going over the lines when you're using your blending brushes. And if you feel like you want some of those a little darker than others, by all means, please do that. Do this one right in here. And you know that with blending brushes, it's best to do a little bit of blending with a little ink and add more ink and more blending. So you're getting layer upon layer upon layer of color. And again, the Stamparatus and the magnets are just being used to hold my die cut piece and the white cardstock underneath together without them moving. And next I'm going to use Fresh Freesia. This is one of our 2021 to 2023 in colors that will be retiring unless they decide to bring it back in the color refresh. Again, we don't know that, but I'm anticipating that it will retire. We've got some little flowers in here. And you'll notice right away that colors overlap. And when you're using the blending brush, it's almost impossible for colors not to overlap. So again, don't worry about if the ink overlaps into other spaces. Let's see, I'm gonna do purple one right in here. And I think I'll do this one with the Fresh Freesia. So anybody have spring flowers blooming in their yard? I had a few daffodils that were just about, they're a little short, but just about to bloom. And I forgot to go outside and look this morning, but we had sort of a mild frost, so I don't know what happened to them. And in Ohio, we still have to expect to get some more frost through the spring. But it's still exciting to see what's coming up in the yard or see the trees in the neighborhood starting to bloom. Let's see here. I'll do this great big flower here. This one's a little more solid looking. And I'll do this one. How about that one too? As you're blending the colors, you can make some of the flowers of the same color a little darker or even a little lighter, by applying less ink or fewer layers of the ink. Okay, and lastly, I'm going to use the Granny Apple Green. And this may be where I start to move my magnets around so that I can get to the leafy parts, but still be holding these two pieces of cardstock in place. And for my green, I'm using Granny Apple Green. We have a lot of great greens, but I think this is probably my favorite as far as the bright greens go. And again, expect that your ink colors will overlap and blend. And for this technique, that's a good thing. Okay, I think I got all the leafy areas. All right, so now we're ready for the big reveal. Get this out of the way. And we're going to be using both of these pieces to make two different cards, one each for each of the cards. And you can use, you can use any color base that you like, but I'm using basic white thick cardstock. But if you would like to put it on a different color card base, by all means do. I think it would be really attractive. This one on black. And for this, now you could use adhesive sheets, but I think the adhesive sheets would be a little bit slippery while we were trying to blend the colors. And I didn't want to take the chance of this moving around even just a little bit, because if you were using an adhesive sheet, you would still have that backing of the adhesive on. So that's why I chose not to use the adhesive sheet for this technique. But if I were using this die on another project, I might use an adhesive sheet with it, but not for this technique. And as you can see, I'm just dotting some glue on the back pretty sparingly. I'm going to try to get some up by the corners and edges. You don't have to have glue everywhere. If you just get some key points all the way around, you should be good. Kind of just do small dots and drag them if you need to. Okay, I think that looks pretty good to me. Remember, with this glue, a little goes a long way. A dot is a lot. And then I'm going to adhere this directly to my basic white thick card base. I like the thick basic white cardstock for card bases because it stands sturdier than the regular white cardstock, because that regular white cardstock is thinner. so it doesn't stand up quite as well. But it's what I use, the regular is what I use for layers, for stamping, that sort of thing, and use just the thick white for the card bases. And I'm going to put this one also on a basic white thick card base. And I'm going to pop it up with some dimensionals. Be sure you use those edges of your dimensional sheets. You don't want to use up the pre-cut pieces and then throw away the edges. Waste not, want not, right? We have to be kind of frugal with that sort of thing, so we have so we can buy our favorite DSPs and stamps and other things. Okay. And now we need some sentiments. So I'm going to show you this. The Something Fancy stamp set has lots of different sentiments, kind of a fun font to go with a very traditional font. Plus it has, oops, I'm showing you the wrong one. Plus it has all of these dies, okay, all of these dies to use with all of the sentiments, which is fun. And of course, you can use sentiments from other sets as well with those dies. So I'm going to go ahead and grab a piece of my white scrap paper. I'm going to stamp Grateful for the Everyday Magic of You. I want to send a note to a friend, and as I was preparing for today's live, I thought, you know, this is going to be the perfect sentiment to put on her card. And then I'm also going to stamp a thank you. And I'll show you what dies I want to use. For this one, I'm using that. And then I'm going to use this hexagon for the thank you. And I did use this one to cut out a piece of Granny Apple Green. And this will go behind the thank you sentiment. So I'm going to switch to my mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, since I've just got two small dies I'm working with now. I most often use my mini machine. There are very few dies that don't quite work with the mini, so of course then you need the large one. And of course, many of our embossing folders, you'll need the large machine. But when I'm doing things like this, sentiments and dies, I most often am using my mini machine. So I have that. And then this one. And you know the trick about when to know to flip your cutting plates? I don't know how well you can see this. But with mine, you can see that there's a gap there now, okay? It's kind of bubbling. Bubbling's not the word, you know, concave, convex, that sort of thing. If you can push down in the center at all, and the center's not meeting the white cutting plate underneath, then you know it's time to flip that over. The other thing is that will help the your plates have longer life is if you always use the same plate on the bottom and the same one on top. I don't know why, but it just makes them last longer. And I do that for both my mini machine and my large machine. Again, preserving the life or extending the life of our cutting plates just helps us in the long run save money, so that we can enjoy purchasing other products we love. Okay. And again, this Granny Apple Green strip was cut with one of the dies in the Something Fancy bundle. And I'm sure that we have other dies that you could do the same stamping technique with. In particular, I can think of the soft succulent. I know I've done this technique with that bundle in the past. So here's my thank you. I might pull it up just a little bit higher, I think. And then I will adhere this with some of those dimensionals. Now that I've cut the edge, they're wanting to peel the main paper with them. There we go. Right there. It looks pretty well centered left to right. And I want to finish this one off with a bow. Now this is actually the Parakeet Party woven metallic ribbon, but I think it goes really well with the Granny Apple Green color. So therefore I'm using it this way as well. And you can see it coordinates nicely. It's a little, the ribbon appears to be a little darker than both the Parakeet Party color and the Granny Apple Green color, but coordinates really nicely with both of them. I think I'm going to put my bow at the top this time. And I'll trim the ends. And then I'm going to use a mini glue dot, but this is larger than the knot on my bow. So I'm just going to kind of roll it with my finger as I'm pulling it off the adhesive. So do you see that? I just rolled that single glue dot. And I'm putting it on the back of the knot. And then I can place this exactly where I want it. I think I'm going to go just like that. And lastly, I'm going to add a little bit of bling. Does anybody remember what my favorite embellishment is from the current mini catalog? Does anybody remember? And I'm so glad you like it. Anybody? I'm sure some of you notice. The flat adhesive-backed pearls. There is just something about these. I think, you know, number one, they're different than anything we've ever had. They are adhesive on the back. Oops, I Just pulled one off with my finger. And they're not perfectly shaped, which I think is kind of a neat characteristic of it, a neat feature of it. The other thing is when it says flat, and I'm not sure how well you can see this, but they really are flat. They don't stand up really high, so they're going through the mail very, very well, which makes me happy. So let's add a few of these flat pearls to our card. Whoops. I think I'll go, let's see, maybe up here. And whoops. And how about right here? And now, do you think we should just leave the second card with the bow, or should we still add some of the flat pearls? What I love about the flat pearls, and I think you can see this on the film, is that they really do pick up all the different colors in your projects. So they're picking up the pinks and the greens and the yellows, really fun. But they're also not taking over, because the pattern we have with the stamping technique is already kind of fussy. So we want something that accents it, but not adds to the fussiness of it. All right, people are saying yes, bling on the second card. I had a feeling you were going to say that. Okay, now I have to think, where do I want to put these? This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to put some up here. Whoop. And then maybe a large one, or a large and a small maybe over here. Oh, let's do it this way. A larger near the bottom. And then another small one here. And I want to put a third one up here. How about right there? Okay, so 5. You know that typically when we're adding embellishments, we want to work in odd numbers. And I know that's true for home decorating, flower arranging, things like that, that we're often working in odd numbers, 3, 5, 7, that sort of thing, because that is more pleasing to the eye. I typically do 3, but this time I put 5 on that card. So we'll see. We'll see how I like it. I'm kind of feeling like this is a little low for me. I might just slip this off and change it up a little bit. A bit here, especially this big one. I'm trying to do it with, oh good, I did it without tearing the paper. I'm gonna put it right here. Just seemed a little too low for me. Okay, I like that better. What do you think? What do you think? Okay. I think they're gorgeous, right? So let's just quickly review. The first thing we did was cut a piece of 5.5 by 4-inch basic white with this die. This comes from the two-tone Flora bundle, all right? Then we took that piece with the ink on it and put it on a basic white card base. And then the basic white cardstock that was underneath while we were blending, and again, we used our small blending brushes, right? We used that underneath piece to for the front of our second card base. And then we just added some sentiments from the Something Fancy stamp set and cut them out with some of the coordinating dies. Super easy, super fun. if you don't have the small blending brushes, which I highly suggest you do, they're just super fun and super easy to use. If I remember correctly, you get a set of 3 for $11.50, so a good price point too. And these will last forever. These will last forever, all right? If you don't have those though, and you still want to go ahead and try the technique, try using the sponge daubers, and that will work awesome as well. All righty. Who would like to win a card? I'm hoping all your hands up. I'm hoping you're all saying me, me, me. If you would like to be put in the drawing. Oh, I know what we didn't do. We need to stamp some envelopes. If you would like to have your name put in the drawing to receive one of these cards, please type in the comments now, Two-Tone Flora. Two-Tone Flora. That's the bundle that has all the flowers and the flower dies. Okay, they're all part of the fancy Flora suite. But remember, that's one of those mega suites with 2 bundles. So Two-Tone Flora, that's where that main die is from. So type that in the comments now. And while you're doing that, I'm going to go ahead and stamp some flowers and leaves here. Stamping the leaves. Again, these leaves and the flowers I'm using are from that Two-Tone Flora set. I'm going to pull in a piece of scrap paper because I'm going to stamp off I have been gone out of town the last 3 weekends. When I unpacked yesterday evening after I got home, I actually put my little suitcase away. I'm not going anywhere for 4 weeks, so I'm kind of happy to be staying at home. I've had great fun, all the places I've been this month, but gosh, I've been gone a whole lot this month of March, these first 3 weeks of March. All right, notice here in the stamp set, all of these stamps have a coordinating stamp, thus called two-tone. Now there are 2 ways that you can make a two-tone flower. You can do it just like I did, where you stamp off the more solid piece and then stamp with full strength ink the details of that flower, okay? And as you can see, they match up. And if you're not sure, because sometimes you're looking at these and thinking, oh no, how do I know what goes with what? Just look at the front and then you can figure it out easily. Here, 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 here. All right, easy peasy. Okay, let's see. It looks like a lot of you are interested in getting your name into the drawing for these cards. So I will choose a winner just a little bit later, but I want to tell you thank you for joining me here this afternoon on this first day of spring. I hope that so far your day has been fabulous and fun and productive and full of a little bit of happiness. So I look forward to seeing you next on Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, okay? I've got some fun things planned for that night. So Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on Stampin' Piece with Mary Nabe. If you would like to see previous Facebook Lives, video replays, that sort of thing, please go to my blog, stampinpiece.com. They are very easy to find, and you will also get cutting dimensions and supply list of Stampin' Up! Products used for each of those. All right, and I would love for you to to subscribe. My new blog is looking awesome. I'm so excited about it. It's a work in progress, but the basis of it is looking really good, and I hope you like it too. I think it's more user-friendly. So, oh, somebody says they still have snow on the first day of spring. I know, it just goes that way, doesn't it? All right, thanks for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Happy stamping.